Hello, everybody. Sorry I'm late today. I was hung up in a meeting and they would not conclude. This was a 5 hours meeting, but finally it is over. So I came in here. Um, so I'm going to talk about uh, an interesting title. What is selfless work? That is dubbed as enlightened selfishness. So not really selfish in the sense of what we normally understood, but it's more like evaluating our work, our purpose in life, and all that, and then going about the immediate um, regular selfishness that we normally understand. That's not there. But the whole thing is about selfless work. I was listening to a spiritual talk this morning, and this has come at a major discussion. And I thought I would present the same here, what I understood. So generally, people are looking for some kind of profit, some kind of compensation, some kind of, which is normally understood, like where you go for make a living. Even the doctors, everybody does that. But then when it goes where you don't have any social element or good for the larger community or the larger institution, but more like a pure and pure steeped in personal desire and personal exaggeration or greed, all those things are involved, then people do not really grow within, and they're kind of not expanded, but more like a contracted, right? So that's essentially not good anyway. As you really uh, waken up to the needs of others, needs of the institutions, or needs of the planet, whatever the bigger thing that you could think of, then your, yeah, gen, what was supposed to be natural, normal thinking is kind of sublimated, and you will not be bothered by uh, your sense of losing on something or fear of losing something. All those things will fall away, and then your real happiness comes through you when you are giving with the heart, right? That's the essence of it. But then there is some kind of enlightened selfishness there where you are aiming for something higher, even that also kind of falls off later on. So this kind of attitude is kind of considered um, for the people who have gone through. They can see what are the nobler instincts that people have, what are the egoic enhancement that they may get because I am good, I'm doing all this service for other people, I'm really great compared to other people. That's kind of uh, veiled egotism that can be bred by really identifying I am the one who is doing the all the good things or nobler things or altruist things, whatever it is. But when you're free even of that I, that's where you really have broke through, right? And then you are not bonded by anything at the time. Um, this may look very impractical. This may look something unusual, but then once you have gone through that kind of experience, not the words of it, but the experience of it, and you could be working practical purposes in some part of arrangement in the society. You could be a ordinary worker, laborer, or it could be a multi-billion-dollar company that is creating so much goods for the society. But it is the attitude with which you work. It could be a very poor guy, but then he has this rich heart where he's not craving for anything. That's small and greedy, but he's really focusing on something important, right? So that kind of understanding of that really helps you to shackle away from your own limitations, or what you think is normal human for me and all that. Actually, that limitation we think is normal human is not human at all. The human is that which is partaken that limitation and then grew into our real potential capacity, and then thereby really forego all the selfish instincts. It's like a selfish is more like a I have to protect myself, I have to protect my family first, I have to protect my country first. All those layers of selfishness falls away naturally when your mind is open to everybody, everything, right? That's where it's called selfishness, but that is enlightened, identified with much bigger stuff. Um, lot of people don't realize that they are getting into this kind of limitations by saying that I'm kind of limited by my thought and all. There is an important principle that I kind of grasped was, you know, uh, you are really weak when you are confined to your thought or mental faculty and thinking that's me, that's what it is. But you are not really limited by your real nature, right? Which I always talk about. So, abiding in that real nature, whereby thought is not dominant in you, or you don't identify with the thought, that really helps you to be actually what we call or like a um, sereneness, and you are abiding in your real nature or real self, we call it with a big S. Then you don't have these moments of thought, and that way you are really serene. So serenity is a quality of your inner real nature, right? And for that, there was so much yoga, so many exercises, so many Christian contemplative processes, and all those things. That's all because you want to shut down the mind, you want to calm the mind, and to really realize who you really are. But there is a better way for this. This is not like you have to close your eyes and shut the world. But even while you are living the world with the eyes open, you can be identified with that inner self. And then this superficial chattering or the so called selfish mind comes to stand still because of your understanding. You kind of go through that, you kind of transcend that rather than deny it or suppress it. The better thing would be accept what we are and then understand the limitation of it and then go beyond it. Um, there is something about this selfless nature of thing is you are really blessed, you are really in bliss. Maybe you don't be smart like other people who are making a lot of money and think they are accumulating a lot of stuff and being not sensitive to people who don't have anything, and so much of inequality and so much of suffering. You are insensitive because you are so steeped in your own greediness and selfishness. That's why we kind of look at it. If you are really spiritually that kind of kind and compassionate being, then you will get over this kind of tendencies in all of us, right? And then you ended up abiding in the real self. You are in the real serenity, real peace, happiness, and bliss. So those kind of things are interesting to understand, and people really uh, do that. So, uh, anybody has any questions or are able to understand what I was talking about? Any questions or any doubts, you can come up, and I'll be happy to engage with you. Otherwise, as I came late, I was not able to go deeper into that. So, uh, but then I will have another 10 minutes more, so I can stay here and answer any questions or elaborate it a little bit if you don't have any questions. It's like this. How is it that people are steeped up in that limit itself? Is they may not have an opportunity to open up. they may not have the questioning mind to go beyond their own cage, whatever they built. Right? But then people have some incident or something, either good or bad. Maybe they are suffering coming to them, and then they open up and they want to understand and they want to go deeper into that. So many souls are there like that, and then they go into it, and then they discover, they transcend the ego, and then end up with their real nature and stay there. And they may be trained to be selfish and protect themselves and build something for themselves, but they may outgrow that need and outgrow that kind of attitude, and then they are in that forever fulfilling, forever peaceful and happy self that they can abide in. When they are abide in that, they don't need any advertisement, they don't need anybody's approval, because they're content. They are absolutely content, and then they realize that abundance. So they don't have to feel for anything or ask for anything. That's where they become selfless. And the more they're engaged in the activity of selflessness, where the bigger picture are, you are really going for the larger picture of life, then you are automatically selfless, and then you cannot be otherwise. When you see the global suffering, suppose you are engaged in your little pleasures and whatever luxuries and all that, unless you have a, sensitive heart, uh, you have to feel it, because if you have sensitive heart, you will be feeling, right? But if you don't, and you are impervious to the suffering or so much going on in the world, then you will be, thoughtlessly and without any compassion, will enjoy your life, and then actually indifferent to the what is going on. That's how this climate change happened, because people were not sensitive to it, was not aware to it. I remember 1980s when I first came to the country. I was following some stocks, and then the sage was one of the on the talks was holding the earth in his hand, like, and says, "This is our earth, sir. We cannot spoil it." And we are doing that. He was lamenting about all the forests being floored. Hi, Leslie. Or it's like a rivers are being spoiled, and global warming even then was discussed, right? But then we have seen rampant consumerism, chopping down the woods and spoiling the temperature with so much of fossil fueling. Even now it's going on, right? Uh, Even though we have tremendous effects of the weather, people are slowly waking up. But I think it is too late, and then unless we do something dramatically, I think you are going to go down. The earth is really doomed. Like, that's what they are talking about, right? Right? But the warnings were there since 1980s. Scientific community, sages, philosophers, ecologists, all the nature people talked about these things very much. Uh, that's what happens when you are selfishly consuming things without thinking anything bigger than you. You know, that's why this principle of selfless work with a enlightened selfishness like of this nature is very important, and we should be considering that. It's really something that we should be aiming for. And that's why in my motto, as I told you yesterday, that I'm going to make an app based on how can we have wellness for the individual, for the systems, hospitals, health systems, societies, and also the planet. These three areas, individual, systems, and the planet, we need to improve the wellness by really being simple outside and then thinking higher inside, and really understanding this real happiness lying inside of us. It's not in the things, or it is not out there, which is within us, that will shine through when you don't have this occupied mind or chattering mind or noisy mind that was there. Okay, all the practices of the ancient were about awareness, about finding that inner bliss and abundance, and just having the outward life as simple as possible. You know, my thing is, if we are really not consuming that many things, and we will not use that many fossil fuels, and also will not generate waste that is going to be affecting our environment. You know, it's as simple as that. But then people have to be aware of at the local level. It's like a global thinking and local acting, right? That was the popular message in 80s and 90s, you know, global thinking and local acting. So think of what will happen to the planet if you go on being the rampant consumer without you knowing, just participating with everybody and not having any restrictions, you know. And now see the stages we are seeing. That's why selfless work with the enlightened selfishness of protecting our atmosphere, our societies, our inner health is very important, I think. So that's what I wanted to say for today. And as I have to get off at you know 7 o'clock. As I said, I was late because I was occupied in the other meeting. You know, now I have to start another one at 7 o'clock with somebody else. You know, not the social media, but you know somebody. So, thank you for listening to my rambling, but it's a very important thing. How can you be selfless without getting any reward in front of you? That is the conditioning that we have gone through. But on the other hand, if you are passionate about something but not having any personal interest that is there, then you have more uh, fulfillment and enjoyment of doing what it is. So one of the persons said about this is, he was quoting ancient scriptures where they wrote, renounce the fruits, the profits, and then enjoy doing it for the excellence sake. So you're doing a job, but you're doing it for excellence sake, but not for the personal rewards from it. You know, that's very difficult in the Western societies. I know that, but then think about it. You know how it really lands us in the real self, which is unselfish, lands us the real self, which is peace itself and which is bliss itself. You know, so. Thank you for listening to me. Anybody have questions? I will give one more chance to come. Otherwise, I'll be closing this room and I'll be seeing you again tomorrow. Nazli, you have any questions? Okay, she's happy to. All right, I will see you all tomorrow. This time I'll try to come at 6 o'clock. Okay, thank you.